Right, so this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while now, as it was requested, on how to turbo, how I went about turboing my RB25. Now this application and the steps here could work for RB20 as well, and most of the RB variants, the series 1, series 2 and so on. Alright, looking at videos online on YouTube when I now started, the tutorials that you're gonna get, they're gonna call parts places that are not local. So they have like O'Reilly's, and they have sometimes vendors go to Walmart and get stuff. We don't have that down here. So trying to figure out where to get these parts as someone that didn't know anything, it was a bit of a challenge. So all the knowledge that I have gathered in my year of being in this hobby, I'm just gonna summarize it in order to help anyone that's looking to go on this path. Now, before we get into turbo in the vehicle, is it even safe to turbo a stock head-on block? Now, you're gonna get a lot of contradicting views and opinions on this. And in my opinion, yes, it is safe to do it once you keep things within a safe limit. So, in my vehicle is a stock head-on block. It came in a mess. But I did a compression test. All of my cylinders holding 150 psi. Make sure that your engine, firstly, could handle the turbo, right? What do you need to turbo the vehicle in the first place? So I'm gonna give you guys a little list. So this is the list here that I devised. So obviously you're gonna need a turbo. Now there are two routes that you could take in turbo in a vehicle. One, you could take a stock turbo setup which came from factory, and you could implement that into your engine, and that's gonna run about 5 to 7 psi. Unless you add a boost controller, then you could probably run a little over 10. You could go the route that I went, where things are not so stock, but it's within limits, you know. So let's talk about the stock setup first. So a stock turbo setup for RB includes of a turbo manifold, a turbo. You're gonna need an intercooler and piping. Now there's two ways you could do the intercooler and piping. You could get the stock piping and intercooler is like this small, and that is sit in the engine bay. Personally, I don't like it because the purpose of an intercooler is to cool the air, so you're increasing air density and cooler air going into the engine. When you keep the intercooler in the engine with all that heat inside there, it's kind of counterintuitive. So I had initially a front mount intercooler, the same sided ones, and then I upgraded to a big intercooler, the normal ones, right? You are going to need a stock turbo intake, or you could do cut and swing. You could do the expensive route with like the Greddy style intakes. All of this depends on your budget. I got this intake from a guy that was scrapping a C33. I found it look cool. I put it in, I don't have an issue with it. So again, you're gonna have men that saying don't do this, don't do that. All well and good. I'm sure that they are right, but everything always comes down to your budget. And as a youth, for the youth men coming up, your budget is not gonna be their budget, right? You're not gonna have loads of money to pelt out. So whatever it is that you could afford and it's gonna make you happy, do that. Eventually, when you want to upgrade, you could do those things, but there are alternatives in where you could enjoy this hobby and you could enjoy your build safely without 15-20,000. I need turbo injectors. Now stock turbo injectors, they go for like $800. You could get it from someone that's scrapping. I have 550 injectors. Now that can't work with our stock brain, so I looking to get our brain, our management right now. But all of those things are a lot of money, so take your time when you're building your car. And right now, I am putting a gearbox in the car, so everything is kind of like in a mess, all over the place, and I do it over some electrical and thing. So yeah, so you can see how that's looking, and there's the panel, I put back some relays, and yeah. So that's everything is a process. It takes time. The next thing you're gonna need is an ECU. So On the stock setup, you could just use a stock alright, so dependent on your harness. So I have a RB25 Neo gray jack, and you could see that just now. How on top there, this piece here is gray. Whatever it is that you have stuck, if you have gray jack or blue jack, ensure that the turbo bearing that you're getting, the turbo you see that you're getting, is the same color. Blue jack can work on gray jack harness, gray jack can work on blue harness. As simple as that, right? So shapes and colors, just match them up, you'll be fine. You're gonna need a turbo oil feed and drain kit. If it's not included with the turbo, you could buy it from Budget Racing. They have the entire kit with all the fittings and stuff, right? I was lucky enough that my block, it was a 1/2 inch drive blank. I just took it out. There's a fitting that's included in the kit to pay back in, and I just ran into the turbo. If in the event you do not have that blank on the left side of the engine to the bottom, two things you're gonna have to do is either you tap the block, which is a daunting process for beginners. You could ask people to do it. I strongly recommend you can message Coast Auto, Ricky and Ahmed. They would come home by you and they would do it for you. So I've had experiences with them. They're pretty chill guys. When I was doing over the wiring in my vehicle, I was consulting with Ricky and I did shit. I did a sort of madness. So they came home by me in a matter like 4 hours. They rewired the car. Immediately it was started. Two ways you could do the management, right? You could do a NIS tune, which is like the budget management. You could get a chip from this guy, I think that sells the chip, and he's put it into your brain and he's got his name, but yeah, this is the guy's contact if you want it. He does that, right? Sure, you're gonna need all kind of little parts. The man for those things is Hyper-V. Did it Oropuch site. He sells a lot of genuine parts. So you could call him, you could make a day, you could go down and see what he has. He has the wastegates, turbos, the fittings, he has everything. So he has the genuine ones, and he also blatantly tells you what is genuine and what is the shiny thing. So you could make your decision accordingly to what it is you want. You could also get parts from people that are scrapping a vehicle. So market boys, they bring in vehicles and scrap, and they buy local vehicles and they scrap. Very honest guys. You have Sudesh scraps. You have this guy up north, no, Sawa. There's this guy up Sawa, Pablo. He does scrapping. Davis side as well. You have Travis Southridge does scrap sometimes. He's a good electrician as well. That's what my aim is. My aim is to show people how I went about doing things, the mistakes I made, how to avoid it, and how everybody could just enjoy the hobby without having to spend excessive amounts of money. And you're sending it to a garage and then they mess it up, and then you have to pay them to unmess it up, and then you end up selling your project because there's too much money spending, right? It's not like a very in-detail video on how to like do everything, like take out the manifolds, and that's what you need. I will make a different video, however, explaining how to actually put the parts in. But yeah, this is just what you're gonna need.